What is going on, guys? Matt O'Leary back with another video on a game day Sunday. Don't worry, we'll have our pregame live stream at 3 o'clock this afternoon. We will have our postgame coverage as well. It'll be a regular old Sunday, hopefully talking about a New York Jets win. Let's cross our fingers. Please, New York Jets get in the end zone this week. But I had to come on this morning and talk to you guys about a story that Adam Schefter is reporting. Shefty says sources around the NFL expect that the New York Jets will make another run at pursuing a trade for Davante Adams again this offseason, trying once and for all to pair him with Aaron Rodgers. This is, in my opinion, the worst kept secret in the NFL, that the New York Jets are going to find a way to trade for Davante Adams at some point. Now, they tried apparently before the season. They tried apparently at the trade deadline. The time that made the most sense for this deal to get done was during the 2024 offseason. Just timing it up with how his contract worked, with how things were going with the Raiders. And honestly, something that could impact this trade is Antonio Pierce. If the Raiders continue to win with Antonio Pierce, maybe he doesn't want out. So obviously, they being the Raiders, play the Dolphins this week. Maybe they can help out the Jets one more time and make it to a point where you're playing for first place on Black Friday. That would be ideal. But moral of the story, if the Raiders end up going where we think they'll go, which is probably falling off at some point here, that the New York Jets will be in the mix for Davante Adams. And this is something that I truly do think gets done. They need help desperately at the wide receiver position. Going into next season, you have Garrett Wilson on the roster for cheap for another 2 years. He has his fifth-year option also, so you can pick up his fifth-year option. But he, at some point, is going to be due a nice extension, well deserved. But they need a number 2 receiver or a someone to pair with Garrett Wilson, because Allen Lazard, nice player, is not a good number 2 option to pair with a wide receiver in a weaker wide receiver room. If you had Corey Davis, Mecole Hardman cooking and humming along, maybe everything would be fine and it would be okay for that room. But I just have my mouth salivating over the thought of Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson together. And not pushback, but a concern that I see online from Jet fans is, well, the Jets are going to have to give up their first-round pick for Davante Adams in 2024. I don't buy it. I'm sorry, I really don't think it'll take that. This is a 31-year-old receiver. This isn't trading for A.J. Brown in his prime. This isn't trading for Tyreek Hill in his prime. This isn't trading for, I don't know, what's another recent example? Stephon Diggs. Like, this is a very different scenario. And that's not to diminish Davante Adams, who is still a really, really damn good wide receiver. I just don't think a trade is going to be nearly as costly as what some are expecting. I mean, just look back at this offseason alone. Remember when everyone was so convinced that DeAndre Hopkins was going to get traded for this? It was going to be at least a second-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. He gets released. Dalvin Cook, same thing. He was, you're going to have to trade for Dalvin Cook. And not that it was going to be anywhere close to, a first or second-round pick, but you'd have to trade for him. And he ends up getting released. Davante Adams is not going to get released. Let's be honest here. But I'm not worried about having to give up a first-round pick for Davante Adams, at least not in 2024. Maybe it's like, I don't know, a 4th this year and a 1st next year, but I'm not convinced that it's going to be that either. A couple of mid-round picks, one this year, one next year. I'm not convinced that it's going to be this big, huge package that the Jets can't afford. I don't think that's going to be the case. They look to add a wide receiver. They need to add a wide receiver. I think Adams with Rodgers and Garrett Wilson would be a beautiful fit. I am all in on that in the offseason. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I don't think it's going to cost as much as some people are assuming it's going to cost. Go all in 2024. That's the move for this team. And who knows? Maybe you make a surprise playoff appearance this year. That would be nice. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.